Hey, what's going on? Coming at you from Chicago, Illinois. And in this video, I'm going to discuss two articles. I'm going to discuss a documentary type style video from YouTube. And then I'm just going to read a paragraph from this older book here. So this article that I found, this is from digitaltrends.com. And the title of this article is Tesla recalls electric semi-truck just months after launch. Tesla has issued a recall for its all-electric semi-truck just 3 months after it launched. This appears to be 35 trucks that were affected. Just really quickly, it says it's only been 3 months after it launched and already it's having problems. And obviously with the braking system, I mean, that's a very major safety issue. The article says the reason their semi-trucks were recalled was because the electronic parking brake valve module may fail to move into the park position when the parking brake is activated. So I'm not totally sure if these electric trucks, if their braking system works the same way as a traditional diesel truck. But I just went ahead and did a quick Google search, and it says that with diesel trucks, that when you when you evacuate the air from the system, large springs come on and apply the brakes. So with these big, massive trucks, it's not just like a regular car. You put the car in park and then walk away. With these trucks, obviously they're very large. They weigh. They're very heavy, so they need to implement these this air system to apply the large springs so that the trucks stay in place when they're parked. The article also mentions that if the parking brakes are not engaged when the driver expects them to be, and the driver releases the service brakes, the vehicle may unintentionally move, increasing the risk of a crash. Fortunately, no crashes, injuries, or deaths relating to the defect have been reported to date. Well, that's convenient, and I don't want to sound cynical, but I did do an older video about Tesla, and they had a recall with just their regular cars, and I had alluded to saying, was Tesla doing enough due diligence before releasing these cars to the public? Or did they just kind of hurry up the engineering just to get the cars out there so they can start making money? So I want to talk very quickly about that older article that I talked about in an older video from people.com. And the title of that article was Tesla recalls 758,000 vehicles due to self-driving software that increases the risk of a crash. In that video, I talked about how there was a recall that involved their self-driving software, which increased the risk of a crash due to several bugs in the software, which Tesla would remedy with a free over-the-air update. For some reason, that just seems a little off to me, that they would send a free over-the-air update. This doesn't involve apparently taking the car to like a mechanic type shop. I understand that these are battery operated cars, but it doesn't have a lot of the same moving parts, components of a traditional car, but it just seems really off. And then what happens if there's a future bug or future bugs in the future I don't know. I don't know if these engineers did their due diligence to make sure that these vehicles are safe before releasing them to the public. It's we don't know that information. So I'm gonna come here to this 60-minute Australia YouTube channel, and they did a documentary type video called Rogue Boeing 737 MAX Planes with Minds of Their Own. And if you guys remember, it wasn't that long ago, just a few short years ago, there was that devastating news with the Lions Air Flight 610 and the Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302, which went down and crashed, and they killed all the passengers, all the flight crew. So getting back to this 737 MAX video on YouTube, towards the beginning of the video, what appears to be an engineer, a Boeing insider, he says, "We were under pressure to minimize changes, to cut costs, and to get it done quickly." And that's in relation to the 737 MAX. The documentary said that Boeing put profits above people. And it said that the company was denying responsibility for the crashes. More specifically for the Lions Air Flight 610, they had, when that news originally, when that event initially took place, Boeing wanted to try to blame it on pilot error. So what had happened was Boeing, they put these new fuel-efficient engines. They were large engines, so they couldn't put it underneath the plane where the engines normally go. So because they were just too large, so what they did was they put them towards the front of the aircraft and put it upwards so that it could fit underneath the plane. But then that caused a problem because there was so much weight on the front of the plane that it would cause the airplane to stall mid-air. So in order to remedy that problem, what Boeing did was they created a computer program, MCAS, which was an anti-stall system that would tilt the nose of the plane down to prevent stalling. There was, there was the Lion Air Flight 610, which killed all 189 passengers and crew. And again, after that crash, Boeing's immediate impulse was to suggest it was pilot error because they wanted to avoid legal liability. It's really tragic. They knew when this flight had initially crashed that they were responsible, but instead of owning up to their responsibility, they wanted to blame pilot error for all of these unnecessary deaths. That was the two articles in the video. I'm gonna jump over here to Kevin Trudell, Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About. And this is a little bit off topic because he talks a lot about the pharmaceutical industry, but it's still in relation to this video because he talks about just greed and corruption. So, the corruption runs deeper than you could ever imagine. All of these big wig fat cats are making millions of dollars as long as drugs are being sold and sold and sold and people remain sick and sick and sicker. You have to understand the power of greed and the power of the love of money. You have to understand how motivated people are for power, influence, and money. This driving force is behind the fraud and corruption in healthcare. You have to understand the money motive behind corporations, specifically publicly traded corporations. You have to know that all publicly traded corporations, all officers and directors of those corporations have only one objective, and that is to increase shareholder value, to increase profits, to increase sales, and to get more people to use their products. You have to know that the legal responsibility of corporations is to increase profits above everything else. So what do I take away from all this information? There's a lot of greed, there's a lot of corruption. I think that's common knowledge by now. There's not too much that we can do on our part except for trying to do some due diligence, doing research. If you want to use a car, for example, seeing what kind of safety rating a particular vehicle you may be looking at. But more important than that is just learning to rely on our Creator, because these are definitely difficult, trying times that we're living in, and we're going to need that relationship with our Creator as we continue to move forward in this life, and He will prevail. He will see us through. So that was today's video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.